Alright, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another video. So today's video is actually going to be a tutorial, and I'm going to be showing you guys how to improve your backflip. Alright, so the very first out of 5 tips that I have for you guys is to correct your jump angle. Your jump angle is so important when you're learning how to do a backflip, because if you don't have a correct jump angle, why can't I talk? If you do not have a correct jump angle, then your backflip is either going to be traveling forward or it's going to be traveling backwards. And all the best backflips go straight up and come straight down. The key to getting the correct jump angle with your backflip is your shoulder position as opposed to your knee position. So simply, if your shoulders are in front of your knees when you're taking off, you're going to be traveling forwards. If your shoulders are stacked directly above your knees when you're taking off, you're gonna go straight up. And of course, if your shoulders are behind your knees, then you're gonna be going backwards. You can test this out for yourself. Just jump forwards, and you'll see that when you jumped forward, your shoulders were positioned in front of your knees. Now jump backwards. You enter into a bit of a sitting position, and by jumping backwards, then you can see on the video that your shoulders were behind your knees. Now jump straight up. And when you jump straight up, your shoulders are stacked directly above your knees. So when you're doing a backflip, make sure your shoulders are above your knees and you should be good to go. Alright, so the next thing you're going to want to think about is your chest angle when you're jumping. If when you jump, you lean back with your chest, your rotation is going to be started before you want your rotation to start, and you're going to end up rotating backwards into the ground. And so as you're doing a backflip, make sure your chest is still in a neutral upright position as you're leaving the ground. And that means that you're going to go up from almost like as long as you can before you end up doing the backflip. Don't ask me why, but something that's always helped me understand the takeoff and the positions my body should be in when I'm taking off is by using the example of a book. So as you're taking off, you want your book to essentially you want your body to look like the book. So this is your upper body, this is your lower body. As you're jumping, your body should look like this in the air. The book can't go back too far, and if it does, then the entire thing rotates backwards. And this hinge right here, that's your hips. So as you're taking off, you want your chest to be in essentially an upright position. And after you leave the ground, you should be attempting to tuck as tight as you can, or that is close the book. Remember, you're closing the book by lifting the lower half to the upper half. But you're not closing the book by doing this. That's not going to close it, it's just going to open it. So after you take off from the ground, close the book, and you should be able to rotate for a backflip. Alright, so for a quick note on that one, when you're going up for your backflip, you don't want your chest to be completely straight up and down, because if your chest is completely straight up and down, then you're not going to rotate for the backflip and you'll essentially just do a tuck jump. But what you want is for your chest to lean back slightly, and when your chest leans back slightly, that'll give you the proper flip you need once you tuck, but it'll also not let your chest fall too far back. So the key here is not to let your chest drop too much and to keep it mostly upright as you're going up for the backflip. So the next tip that you can implement literally right now without much effort is to tuck your chin. So I can't give you an explanation as to why this works, but trust me, it does. If you're doing a backflip, instead of having your head out there like that, tuck your chin in, and it'll help you so much when you're doing the backflip. Just like that. Alright, so this fourth tip is possibly, at least in my opinion, the most important tip in today's video. And it's honestly what's made my backflip what it is today. And that is actually a secret in the way you tuck. Now, you'll hear most people say that when you're tucking, you need to essentially do like a crunch in the air, contract your abs, and then use that to tuck you in. However, I have a way better method that I've discovered, just kind of by doing it along the way. And the better way of tucking is to use your hip flexors instead of your abs. So let me just do it like a quick demonstration for you. So I want you just to stand just like this. Just stand up and then just do this. move your knee up to your chest just like that. Now that is using your hip flexor muscles. So just do this and feel like the level of effort and the energy that takes. Also the time that it requires. You know, just do that. See, it's not that hard, but now I want you to get on the ground and literally just like do like a crunch on the ground. It takes a lot more energy and a lot more effort and a lot more time to do a crunch as opposed to just lifting your legs using your hip flexors. Now, you can implement this into your backflip by tucking with your hip flexors instead of with your abs and instead of crunching in the air. And so when you leave the ground, literally just flex those muscles, bring your knees up using your hip flexors, and it'll make the entire process so much easier. Alright, so the last tip is kind of an obvious one, but it's still one that a lot of people mess up, and it's still one that a lot of people don't actually know how to implement, and that's to be explosive in your backflip. Basically, the bottom line is that if you're not explosive when you're doing a backflip, you're just not going to have a high, fast, powerful backflip, because in order to get that just kind of snappy backflip that all the pros do, you need to be explosive. You can't be like going down into a deep squat and then coming up slowly. It's got to just be a fast, just snappy motion, and by being explosive and by not really slowing down the process, but just going down and just exploding off the ground, your backflip is going to improve so much. Alright guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, make sure you leave a big like on today's video and subscribe if you guys are new. The techniques that I showed you aren't techniques that I've seen a lot of other people talk about, and if you implement them into your backflip, I can guarantee you your backflip is going to progress. Of course, the only way you're going to get a high and a powerful backflip is with time, dedication, and practice. There's really no way around that. It took me over 2 years to get my backflip where it is now, and it's still not as good as like some of the pros out there. So if you guys want to get the best backflip in the world, the only way to do that is to practice it more than anyone else. So make sure you guys are putting in the time, the effort, and implementing these tips, and you guys will definitely see a lot of improvement on your backflip.